friend. Welcome to our Best of Summer series here on the Not Your Average Autism Mom podcast. So, summer looks a little different around here because let's be honest, routines change, schedules get messy, kids are home more, therapies shift, and life can feel a little extra full this time of year. So, instead of adding more to your plate, I wanted to give you a chance to revisit some of our most impactful, most downloaded, and most shared episodes from the past several years. These are the conversations that really resonated with moms in our community, the ones that made you feel seen and understood, supported, and a little less alone on this parenting journey that none of us planned. So, whether this is your first time hearing this episode, or maybe you're listening again from a completely different season of life and parenting perspective, I hope it gives you exactly what you need today. And don't forget, there are over 270 episodes waiting for you in our podcast library. So summer is the perfect time to go back and binge listen and catch up on episodes that you might have missed, or revisit ones that hit home for you before. They are in no particular order, so just scroll through and find episodes that resonate with you where you are right now. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's jump into this week's Best of Summer episode. Episode 248, Reset and Reconnect. What to do after you lose your lane. And you will. Well, hey, friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Not Your Average Autism Mom podcast. I am your host, Shannon Urquiola, and I am so glad that you're here with me today. If you listened to last week's episode 247, it was all about staying in your lane. Then you know we are right in the middle of our holiday series where I'm walking you through the real conversations that matter most this time of year. And today we're wrapping up that conversation with something that every single autism mom needs to hear before the real holiday chaos hits. Because let's just be honest, staying in your lane is the goal. But losing your lane, yeah, that's reality. And that's what this episode is all about. What to do after you lose your lane completely. Because yes, even with the best intentions and the best prep and the best mindset, it is going to happen. You, mama, you are human. You are parenting a child with a nervous system that runs hot. And the holidays bring every possible stressor together in one place. So today we're talking about resetting and reconnecting after those moments that you lose it completely. Those moments where emotions take over and overwhelm is high, the routine is off, and you snap. Maybe you yell, maybe you slam a drawer or a door harder than you meant to. Maybe you say something in a tone that you instantly regret. Maybe you feel yourself unraveling, but you can't pull it back in time. And then comes the guilt hangover, right? I know it well. I lived in that place for years. And here's what I want you to hear today. You can come back from those moments. You can reset and reconnect, and you can repair the emotional bridge without drowning in shame. So today we're going to talk about why losing your lane happens, especially during the holidays, what's going on in your nervous system in those moments, what reset actually looks like in real life for you and for your family, how to reconnect even if your child doesn't respond or can't respond, what repair looks like for different ages and communication levels, and how to move forward without dragging guilt into tomorrow. So the holidays are often a perfect storm, and not just for our kids. But before we judge ourselves, I want to just be real about something. Your child isn't the only one responding to the chaos. You are too. Your spouse is. Your other children are. your in-laws are, your extended family is. The holidays are overstimulating and dysregulating for everyone. Your child is out of routine. School schedules are all over the place. Your therapy hours are likely shifting. You have people visiting. You're visiting people. There's new foods and new places and new expectations, lights, sounds, smells, all different. Bedtimes get weird. Mornings get chaotic. It's a perfect storm. And when their emotional intensity goes up, your emotional intensity rises with it. So that's exactly why staying in your lane feels so much harder this time of year. So, no, you are not doing anything wrong. You are navigating an environment that's harder for everyone, for your child, for you. So, before I even get into what do you do after you lose it, I want to talk about what pushes you there. And I want to use real examples, the ones that you've likely either lived through or might just face soon. Let's just say your child refuses to get dressed to go to the family get together. He's overwhelmed. The routine is off. The house smells like cinnamon and turkey, and everyone's energy is buzzing. And you hold it together until he throws the shoes across the room, and then you snap. Why is this so hard? Just get dressed. And then instant guilt. So I want to talk about, like, how do you reset? The first thing you want to do is just step out of the room, 30 seconds. Slow your breathing down, relax your jaw, lower your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And now that I've told you that, you will never not notice your tongue being on the roof of your mouth when you're feeling anxious. Pay attention to it at bedtime, because a lot of times when we get in bed and our minds start spiraling with all the things, you will notice that your tongue will be on the roof of your mouth. And when you lower it, you'll feel everything loosen. Remind yourself, he isn't giving me a hard time. He's having a hard time. And then let's talk about kind of, how do you reconnect? So let's say that you have a younger or a non-speaking child. You can sit down beside them, right? Offer them a blanket. Say something like, let's try again. I'm here. Or for a teen or a more verbal child, maybe you say something like, hey buddy, I got too loud. I'm okay now. It's okay. Or maybe you snap at your spouse because, this one's real, right? The house is chaotic. You're juggling the kids, the food, the noise, the sensory overload. And your spouse says something like, why are you getting so worked up? It's not a big deal. Ugh, that line, right? And before you can stop yourself, you fire back with something sharp, something you didn't mean, or something that came from a place of exhaustion, not truth. And again, just step outside, get some fresh air, let your nervous system calm down. Remind yourself that he experiences the world differently too. Right? Say something later like, hey, earlier I was overwhelmed and it came out the wrong direction. I'm not mad at you. I was just maxed out. You don't need a long emotional speech. You don't need to over explain. Right? Or maybe, let's just say you're at your aunt's house and there are 27 people crammed in the kitchen and everyone is talking and everything is loud and your child is pacing and flapping and scripting loudly. And then someone well-meaning or not says, have you tried such and such? Or he just needs to learn. Or I think she's just spoiled. And that sends you right over the edge. Maybe you snap. Maybe you shut down. Maybe you grab your kid and leave without a word. Maybe you cry in the bathroom. How do you reset in that moment? Take your child outside. Sit down with them. Let your body settle. Don't engage in educating someone whose mind isn't open right now. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to prove your parenting. You don't have to justify your child's autism diagnosis, right? Something as simple as, too many people, we're good, we're safe, we can take a break. Your steadiness becomes the repair, right? And then later, maybe you say to your family, today was a lot. We're doing what works best for us. You don't owe them a TED talk, right? Or what about, let's say, let's do a sibling thing, right? When you lose it with a sibling. And this one hurts. Your neurotypical child rolls their eyes at their sibling's behavior. Or maybe they sigh out loud. Or they say something like, why do we always have to leave early because of her? And before you know it, you're snapping at them too. So just take a pause, not to justify yourself, but to take ownership. And later you might say something like, hey, I shouldn't have snapped at you. This is hard for all of us sometimes. I love you. Because that simple sentence holds so much safety and truth. I want you to know that losing your lane doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you human. Sometimes you snap because you're just simply running on empty. Sometimes you're overstimulated. Sometimes you're grieving the holidays that you thought you would have. Sometimes you're just trying to hold everything together for everyone, and someone spills the juice or refuses their shoes or melts down over a new ornament, and it's just the final straw. None of it makes you a bad mom. It makes you a mom who just needs a reset. So when I say reset, I'm not talking about some perfect, peaceful, Zen-like state. I'm talking about a very real, very doable moment where you pause and you breathe and you shift, right? Think about if your teenager refuses to go to a holiday event and you react before you think and you say, well, fine then, stay home if you're going to be like that. Well, a reset might look like stepping out onto your porch, letting your nervous system calm down, saying to yourself, that wasn't who I wanted to be. I can fix this. A reset is just a pattern interrupt for your nervous system. And so then the reconnection, right? How to come back after you snap. And this part is so important. The goal is not perfection. The goal is repair and reconnection in a way that works for you and your child. Repair doesn't mean a big dramatic apology. It means your nervous system calms down. Your presence is a little less. Your child feels your safety again. That's what they take in. Not the speech, not the explanation, just the energy. You can reconnect without big emotional conversations. You can reconnect without over-explaining. You can even reconnect when your child doesn't want to talk, right? So I want to talk about kind of how reconnection looks different depending on where your child is. So let's talk about for our moms who have non-speaking or minimally speaking kids. Reconnection is all about the energy, not in the words, right? Sit down beside them, get them their favorite snack, bring them a blanket, gently rub their back if they allow you to touch them. Show calm with your presence because your calmer energy becomes the repair in that situation. For younger kids, use simple language. I got too loud. I'm okay now. Keep it short, keep it warm, keep it steady. And for teens, repair often happens just in those like side-by-side moments, right? Driving in the car, putting the dishes away, watching a show together. Just saying something simple like, hey, earlier I snapped at you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. Right? It's direct, it's respectful, and there's no shame. Or if you have a kid who shuts down, right? You might sit down on the floor next to them. Just let them know, you know what? I'm here when you're ready. Sometimes that's all they need. And here's why repair matters so much. Autistic children, all children, need to know that you still love them after a hard moment, that you're not upset with them. You were just overwhelmed. That makes it real. Hard moments don't define your relationship. They need to know that they are safe with you, that you can come back together after the storm. And this is foundational. It teaches them emotional safety. It teaches them resilience. It teaches them that relationships aren't fragile. They bend and they come back. And this next thing I want to talk about, letting go of the guilt hangover, because here's a truth that took me years to learn. Guilt without change is just punishment. Guilt with awareness turns into your growth. You can acknowledge the moment. You can repair what needs repairing. You can reset your nervous system. You can learn something about yourself and move forward. Guilt isn't required to be a good mother. You don't have to carry guilt into the next day or the next week. What matters the most is, did you reset? Did you reconnect? Did you model apologizing? Did you come back together? That's good parenting. Your child doesn't need a perfect mom. Your child needs a real mom. And before we close, I just want to share a little earned holiday wisdom with you. You will lose your lane this holiday season, not because you're doing it wrong, but because you are human. And this parenting journey, it asks more from you than most people will ever understand. What matters more than the moment you lose your lane is the moment you come back to yourself, to your child, to the connection that makes everything else possible. You can always reset. You can always reconnect and repair. And that, mama, that is what makes you an extraordinary parent. So thank you so much, as always, for spending part of your day with me. And as we wrap up this little holiday series that we've been doing, these conversations about staying in your lane and finding your calm again and coming back after the moments that don't go as planned, I really hope it's been helpful for you. My hope is that as you walk into this holiday season with a little more compassion for yourself, a little more awareness of what your nervous system needs, and a whole lot less pressure to do things the way everyone else does them. Even if one thing we've talked about in these episodes helps you navigate the next few weeks with just a little more ease or grace or confidence, then that's what I wanted the outcome to be, because you deserve that. And your family deserves a mom who feels confident and capable, not perfect, just capable of meeting the moment that you're in. And before we wrap up, in case you haven't heard, I am writing a book, y'all. And let me tell you, writing a book is hard. It has stretched me in ways that I wasn't expecting. It has healed parts of me that I didn't even realize still needed healing. And it's asked me to sit with memories and moments that were honestly painful, but necessary. But I want you to know that every time I sit down to write, I think about you. I think about all the moms who will read these pages curled up in bed or in the car, waiting at therapy, or in those late night moments when everything feels really heavy. And I can't wait to bring it to you in 2026. And also, if today's episode helped you breathe a little deeper or helped you feel a little less alone, I would love for you to share it with another mom who might need this message today. And don't forget to leave a review if you haven't. It really helps our podcast reach more moms. just like us, who need this kind of support. And above all, remember, you, mama, are doing amazing at this mom thing.